Hello, beautiful soul. If you found your way here, it's not by accident. Scorpio, there's something stirring beneath the surface of your reality, something subtle yet potent, like the slow unraveling of a secret that has been quietly hiding in plain sight. You've felt it, haven't you? That lingering sensation that someone's gaze lingers just a second too long, that certain questions come wrapped in silk but carry an undertone of calculation. It isn't paranoia, beloved. It's perception. It's your sacred instinct whispering that someone close to you, someone you've allowed near the soft places of your soul, is not simply engaging in casual conversation. They are measuring you piece by piece, word by word, as though your truth were a puzzle to decode rather than a presence to trust. You see, this person is not testing you because they seek understanding. They are not curious in a way that invites connection or depth. No, what they're doing is far more calculated. They are gathering fragments, collecting emotional data, watching your reactions in moments that seem ordinary but are anything but. They're setting little traps of normalcy, familiar questions, accidental meetings, supportive glances, yet behind it all is a silent investigation into your loyalty, your integrity, your ability to be trusted when no one is looking. But here is what they fail to understand. Your loyalty is not a performance, it is a devotion. It's not something that can be proved on command or demonstrated like a test subject under scrutiny. It's a sacred offering that blooms only in the soil of mutual trust, not in the sterile space of hidden motives. And the most haunting part of this, Scorpio, is that this test they're putting you through, it was never really about you. This person has already made a decision deep inside them, and now they are simply seeking evidence to justify it. Their questions are not invitations, they are confirmations of a conclusion they quietly reached long ago. So while you, in your depth and sincerity, believed you were building something meaningful, they were searching for a reason to pull away. And that is why your soul has been restless. You see, Scorpio, your nature is not loud, but it is profound. You don't offer your truth to just anyone, and when you do, it is never surface level. When you trust, you do so with the whole of your soul. You share not just information, but energy, essence, and unspoken knowing. And that kind of vulnerability, when placed in the wrong hands, becomes sacred material for manipulation. People who have not yet healed, who operate from wounds rather than wisdom, often mistake your emotional depth for something they can mold, dissect, or use for their own agendas. This is what you must understand. Now everyone approaches connection the way you do. While you reach from the soul outward, they approach from fear inward. Their questions are not acts of intimacy. They are tools of control. Their curiosity isn't rooted in care, but in suspicion, insecurity, and a desperate need to validate a narrative they've already decided is true. They're not listening to learn who you are, they're listening to find cracks, angles, loopholes, and that is not love. That is surveillance disguised as concern. Your generosity, quiet, loyal, and all-consuming, was never meant to be placed under a microscope. It was meant to be received, nurtured, and honored. But someone has treated it as a means to an end. Instead of respecting your transparency, they've begun to exploit it, twisting your words into meanings they were never meant to carry, weaving your emotions into stories that were never yours to begin with. They are not seeking truth. They are seeking confirmation of a fear they've long held within, projecting it onto you, using your goodness as evidence for their own broken trust in the world. And here's the wound that no one sees. It isn't that you were misunderstood, it's that you were willing to be fully seen, and someone still chose to misinterpret that light as a threat. Scorpio, your openness is not weakness. Your ability to let someone in, even after pain, is an act of spiritual bravery. But now, the time has come to reclaim what you so freely offered. To draw the veil once more, not out of fear, but out of sovereignty. Now that you see what is unfolding beneath the surface, Scorpio, you must begin to shift, not in fear, but in sacred self-preservation. The time has come to wrap your truth in silk again, to become intentional about what you reveal and to whom you reveal it. Your inner world is not a public archive, and your plans, dreams, And sacred emotions are not meant for every ear, especially not the ones listening only to dissect or distort. You must allow yourself to become selective, not because you are building walls, but because you are building temple spaces where only the worthy are allowed to sit in silence and witness your truth. You owe no one a demonstration of loyalty, especially not those who cloak their insecurity in psychological games. Loyalty, for you, is not a performance. It is not something you display like a medal, nor is it a series of tests to be passed. It is a quiet knowing that grows in safe soil, not in the shadow of suspicion. Anyone who truly deserves your trust would never ask you to prove it through manipulation. They would speak their fears honestly. They would approach you with openness, and they would never hide their doubts behind casual interrogation. So when someone begins to prod too deeply into your personal matters, Scorpio, when the questions grow too pointed, when the interest feels too sharp, when the energy in the room shifts from connection to calculation, let your inner gates close gently but firmly. Offer only fragments. Wrap your answers in kindness but leave the core untouched. You are not required to expose your vulnerabilities to those who would only use them as currency in some silent game of power and perception. Speak with grace, yes, but let your words be like water. Fluid, elusive, impossible to grasp too tightly. This is not deception. This is discernment. This is you reclaiming the sacred right to control what leaves your soul and enters the world. Not everyone deserves access to your storms or your stillness, and you, more than anyone, understand the cost of misplaced trust. Let your silence become your shield. Let your mystery return as medicine. And above all, remember those who truly love you will never need you to prove anything. They will simply stay, without conditions, and honor the parts of you that remain unseen. There comes a moment in every Scorpio's life when the lesson isn't about who betrayed you, but about why you kept giving your sacred loyalty to those who had no idea how to hold it. And this moment, painful as it may feel, is your sacred initiation. Because you are not losing your depth, your empathy, or your capacity to love. No, my love, you are learning how to refine it. You are beginning to distinguish between those who deserve your loyalty and those who only demand it. Between those who hold your trust with reverence and those who see it as something to be exploited or measured. And let this be known deep in your bones, becoming more selective does not make you colder, it makes you sovereign. It does not mean you love less, it means you love wiser. When you begin to guard your emotional energy with intention, you stop bleeding for people who were never willing to offer a bandage. You stop explaining yourself to those who never truly listened. And instead of proving your worth in spaces that diminish you, you begin to invest in relationships that reflect the dignity of your spirit back to you. Your gift, Scorpio, has always been your extraordinary intuition, so sharp, so ancient, so precise. And yet, how often have you dimmed it, doubted it, silenced it in favor of giving someone the benefit of the doubt? That ends now, because your intuition isn't just a feeling, it's a compass. It is the voice of your ancestors, your spirit guides, and your deepest self, calling you away from the danger of false intimacy and toward the light of truth. It knows when something feels wrong long before the mind can rationalize it. It knows when a smile hides a scheme. It knows when your energy is being siphoned under the guise of connection. Trust it. Trust you. Because when you do, you won't just avoid betrayal, you'll rise above it. You'll stop chasing validation from the wrong people and start protecting the wild, beautiful sanctity of your emotional world. This is your evolution, not toward isolation, but toward clarity. Not away from love, but toward true love rooted in mutual trust, unspoken knowing, and deep energetic safety. And in that clarity, Scorpio, you will not just survive these tests, you will transmute them into wisdom. And here's something else. Scorpio, something few will ever tell you. Not all love deserves to be transformed, and not every connection is meant to be healed. Your sacred energy was never meant to be a dumping ground for other people's unresolved wounds. You were not placed on this earth to absorb projections, soothe egos, or constantly hold space for those who refuse to rise to your frequency. Yes, you are a healer, a transmuter, a keeper of the hidden, but even the most mystical of waters must know when to stop flowing into broken vessels. There is a kind of power in choosing not to engage, in no longer offering explanations where understanding has never truly existed, in no longer trying to correct the false narratives that others have crafted from their own fears. Your silence, Scorpio, when used with intention, is not passive, it is alchemical. It is the moment you stop recycling emotional energy that no longer belongs to you. It is when you let the storm pass without letting it inside you. This is the next chapter of your evolution. Energetic sovereignty. It is the realization that your emotions are not community property and your soul is not a battleground where other people's insecurities get to play out. It is knowing that your peace, quiet, steady, hard-earned, is worth more than temporary approval. And it is understanding that sometimes the most profound form of healing isn't forgiveness or confrontation. It's redirection. It's choosing not to carry what was never yours to hold. You are not here to convince, to perform, or to redeem relationships built on unspoken contracts of emotional manipulation. You are here to remember that your depth is not a liability, it is sacred ground. And from this day forward, let only those who approach it barefoot with reverence and self-awareness be permitted to enter. And so, my beloved Scorpio, if your heart feels heavy right now, let me assure you this weight is not a punishment. It is an awakening. A sacred shedding. You are not being broken, you are being unbound. These recent revelations, these subtle betrayals, these intuitive warnings, they were not meant to make you bitter, but clearer. Clearer about who truly sees you. Clearer about who deserves to stand beside you. Clearer about the kind of love, loyalty, and energy exchange that aligns with your soul's highest frequency. Because you were never meant to walk through life offering your innermost self to those who view connection as a transaction or loyalty as something to be measured through hidden games. You are a creature of depth, of truth, of silent knowing, and the ones who are worthy of your presence are not those who test your character in secret, but those who honor it in the light. What you are leaving behind now is not love, it's illusion. It's the habit of giving too much, explaining too deeply, and hoping too hard in places where your spirit was slowly dissolving. You are releasing the need to prove your worth to those too wounded to recognize it, and stepping into a season of emotional sovereignty where your trust is earned, not expected, and your inner world is not an open book, but a sacred scripture shared only with those who can read it without distortion. This is your power, Scorpio, not in how much you give, but in how well you discern. Not in how loudly you love, but in how deeply you protect the quiet spaces of your soul. You don't need to build walls, just gates. Beautiful, wise gates that open only for those who bring peace, presence, and purity of intention. And remember this, what someone else fails to see in you does not diminish your radiance. Their inability to hold your truth does not mean your truth is too much. It simply means they are not your mirror. Not every connection is meant to last, and not every test is worth passing. Sometimes, the greatest act of loyalty is the one you show to yourself, when you choose to walk away from those who demand your light but cannot handle your shadow. So take a deep breath now. Beautiful soul. Let the illusions fall away. Let your energy return to you. Let your silence speak. And trust deeply, fiercely, tenderly that what is real, what is reciprocal, what is rooted in reverence will never need to manipulate you to stay. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be whole. You are not too intense. You are not too mysterious. You are sacred. Let this be the chapter where you stop trying to be decoded and start being devoted to your own divine clarity. The path ahead is quieter now, yes, but it is also clearer. And those who belong in your world will not fear your depth. They will honor it. And so it is.